You can win a fight, you can even win a belt. But when Khabib stepped in that cage, he didn't just win, he showed exactly who's boss. When Khabib Nurmagomedov stepped into the octagon, there was no mystery. You already knew what was coming. Pressure, control, and pure dominance. It wasn't just wrestling. It wasn't just cardio. It was how he broke the will of guys who were used to being the hammer and turned them into the nail. Because this wasn't just a fight. It was a message, a warning, a line in the sand that said, if you step in with me, you're not just losing, you're getting handled. This is the moment where Khabib didn't just prove he was great. He showed everyone there's only one king. There were a lot of fights where Khabib Nurmagomedov made elite fighters look average, but one moment, one fight, stands out from the rest. The night the entire world watched him not just win, but dominate. And the opponent? Conor McGregor. UFC 229, the biggest event in UFC history. The build-up? Chaotic, personal, ugly, trash talk, buses, religion, family. And when Khabib stepped into that octagon, this wasn't about a belt anymore. This was about respect. From the opening bell, there was no confusion. Khabib didn't just want to win, he wanted to make a statement. He put Conor on his back in the very first round and didn't let him breathe. Every second on the ground, Khabib was in full control, smothering him, talking to him, and dishing out punishment with zero hesitation. But the real moment that made this fight different? Round 2. Everyone remembers Conor as a sniper on the feet, precise, dangerous, and yet, Khabib dropped him. Yes, the wrestler dropped the striker with a sharp overhand right, a shot that shook the world and shut down any idea that Khabib was just a grappler. At that point, you could almost feel the shift. This wasn't a contest anymore. This was a message being delivered in real time. Round 4, the finish. Conor, exhausted, trapped, and fading. Khabib worked his way to the back, flattened him out, and locked in the neck crank. It wasn't even a full choke, but the pressure was so brutal that McGregor had no choice but to tap. And right there, Khabib didn't even celebrate. He stood up, walked over, and leapt the cage toward Conor's corner to settle the score even further, proving just how much fire was behind that performance. So why is this the fight we point to when we say he showed who's the daddy? Because it was more than just skill, more than just dominance. It was personal, it was controlled chaos, and it was a masterclass in pressure, focus, and total mental strength under the biggest spotlight possible. The guy everyone said couldn't be taken down, he got ragdolled. The guy who claimed to be untouchable, he got humbled. Khabib didn't just win that night, he made a global statement. This is my division, this is my belt, and this is what happens when you cross the line. Whether you love or hate McGregor, everyone watching knew that night belonged to Khabib. What did Khabib do that night that nobody else could? It starts with control. Not just physical control, mental control. Most fighters let emotions get to them. When the stakes are high, when the lights are blinding, when the other guy's been trashing your family for months, they either freeze or they fight sloppy. But Khabib, he was locked in. He wasn't just fighting Conor, he was executing a plan. And every single round, he stuck to it. Round 1. He closes distance and scores the takedown almost immediately. And then, he doesn't chase a finish. He suffocates. He pins. He frustrates. He drains Conor's energy like a slow leak in a tire. That's something a lot of wrestlers try. But few do with that kind of precision and patience. Round 2. This is where it gets crazy. Khabib lands an overhand right that drops McGregor. Think about that. The wrestler outstrikes the striker. Most guys were too afraid to even throw with Conor. Khabib stood toe-to-toe and let his hands fly. That's rare. That's not just game planning. That's confidence built on years of preparation. Then rounds 3 and 4, he breaks him down, bit by bit. No panic, no wasted energy. He pushes Conor to the cage, works the clinch, advances position, and chips away. Every moment in the fight felt like it was happening on Khabib's terms. What separates this performance from others is how complete it was. Usually, you get one style winning over another, like a striker knocking out a grappler, or a wrestler grinding out a decision. But this, Khabib did everything. Out-grappled him, outstruck him, outthought him, outlasted him, and out-toughed him. Even the trash talk backfired on Conor. He spent months trying to rattle Khabib, but when the cage door shut, it was the Irishman who looked like he was searching for answers. And here's something fans don't always talk about. Khabib's composure. When he had Conor trapped, he wasn't reckless. He picked his shots. He stayed safe. Even after dropping him, he didn't rush in wild. He kept his foot on the gas, but never lost control. That's what makes it different. That's what makes it elite. Khabib didn't just beat Conor, he neutralized him. He made him look human, vulnerable. And that's something no one else has done the same way, before or after. McGregor is one of the best trash talkers in the game. He gets in people's heads and lives there rent-free. He builds fights on mind games. And a lot of the time, it works. But Khabib? Different story. He didn't get emotional. He didn't bite on the bait. He didn't try to out-talk Conor. He just kept training. Even in the lead up to UFC 229, when Conor was going after his religion, family, country, things most people would snap over, Khabib didn't flinch. He didn't try to win the war of words. He stayed locked in on the real battle, the fight. And when fight night came, that mental strength showed up everywhere. Example 1, Conor's usual intimidation didn't land. You can see it in the stare downs. Khabib is stone cold, doesn't blink, doesn't react. Meanwhile, Conor's bouncing, yelling, pacing, trying to create chaos. But chaos doesn't work on someone who's completely centered. Example 2, the talking inside the cage. Khabib took trash talk to a new level. Not in the press, but in real time. While smashing Conor against the mat, he calmly said, "Let's talk now." And then, "I deserve this." And even, "Give up." That's not anger. That's control. That's Khabib flipping the script, using Conor's own tools against him while beating him physically. That's next level mental warfare. Example 3, the pressure. Most guys get tired chasing takedowns. Khabib gets stronger. He doesn't just grapple. He grinds you into the canvas. He makes you feel helpless, like there's no way out. That breaks guys. And it nearly broke Conor. You could see it after round 2. The fatigue, the frustration, the doubt. He wasn't talking anymore. He wasn't fighting back the same. That's how Khabib dominated him. Not just with punches and takedowns, but with the feeling that no matter what you do, you're not in control. And when Conor finally tapped in, round 4, it wasn't just his body giving out, it was his mind. He knew it was over. That's the difference with Khabib. He doesn't just beat you physically. He breaks the belief that you ever had a shot. That's how he showed, plain and simple, who was in charge that night. So when people say, Khabib showed who's the daddy, it wasn't just a fight he won, it was a statement. A message sent to every fighter, every fan, and every critic watching. You can talk all you want, but once that cage closes, there are levels to this. And Khabib Nurmagomedov is on his own. He didn't just out-wrestle Conor. He didn't just outwork him. He outclassed him, mentally, physically, entirely. It was the kind of dominance that left no questions, no doubt, and no rematch needed. So here's the real question now. Was that the greatest mental domination in UFC history? Or has anyone else ever controlled a fight like that? Let us know what you think in the comments. We read them all. Smash the like if you respect greatness. Subscribe so you don't miss more raw, no fluff fight breakdowns just like this. Because whether it's past legends or future kings, we're here to show you who's really running things in the octagon.